We are on day 2. It's Tuesday, January 14th in pre-algebra. We're on unit 1, and this is our first do now activity. So I had you guys try to do these on your own. And what we're going to do now is share all the different answers we got. Then once we have all the different answers written out, we'll go through and explain why we're getting these answers. So for number 1, just start telling me some numbers you got.
Negative 17.
Negative 17. We got a negative 7. Anybody get something besides? Wow. That doesn't look right.
7.
Negative 7. We got a positive 7. Any other numbers besides these 3? Okay, perfect. Let's talk about number 2 real quick. What answers did we get for 2?
-2.
-2. Anything different than -2?
-8. Yeah.
-8.
15.
15. Positive 15
That's what I had
or
first.
negative?
Positive.
Okay, positive 15. Any other answers? Everybody got one of these 3 numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. How about number 3? What did we get?
6. Everybody got 6.
I do hope we all got that one. If you didn't, we can talk about it. But, adding positive numbers, that is one of our good skills. How about number 4? What did you guys get?
-6.
Negative 6?
Yeah.
Did someone say positive 6?
I got positive 6.
Okay, positive 6. Any other numbers?
9.
9, positive 9?
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else?
How did it 9? That's it look like it's time.
Anything else? Just these 3 numbers?
That's actually, we're doing adding and subtracting.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, number 5. Our question was 2 minus 6. What
4.
answers did we get?
-4.
Negative 4. Anything else?
I got 4.
Positive 4. Did I hear
There's
negative
no
2?
negative sign up there.
Did I hear negative 2?
No,
Yes, no?
That's 2 minus 6.
Did everybody either get a negative 4 or a positive 4?
Okay.
Someone say negative 2? No?
Wrong.
Okay. How about number 6? We have 4
I got
minus
-2.
negative 2.
I got -2.
Negative 2. What else?
6.
6. What else?
Wait a minute. Nope. Negative. I have
Negative
2.
6.
I have positive 2.
Positive 2. Any other numbers?
Positive 8.
Positive 8.
I multiplied it.
Okay. Any other answers? Okay, let's look at number 7. We have negative 3 minus 5.
15.
Okay, 15.
I had 2.
Negative 8. 2. Negative 8. Anything else?
Negative 10.
8. Negative 10. You said negative 10?
Yeah.
Okay, negative 10. Anything else? No? Everybody got one of these numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. Number 8. Negative 2 minus negative 4.
Positive 2.
Positive 2. What else?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Negative 6. Did you say
Positive
negative
2.
8?
Oh, yeah.
Negative 8.
Positive 8.
Did you say positive 6?
Positive
Positive 6. Anything else?
We're not multiplying
Positive 8.
So,
Anything else?
I caught that.
Any other answers?
Right. What you get?
The last one?
We're not multiplying the value yet.
It's the same sign. as-
Okay. Is this all the answers we got?
What do you think?
2.
I get 2.
Did you say, yeah, we got 2 written down?
-4.
Okay, now, everybody, let's focus for just a moment. Before we start going over which answers are correct, I do want to make sure everybody does understand that we do record all the lessons, so please be aware that the microphone at the front of the room will pick up your voice if you are talking, even if you're talking quietly. So whenever I am giving an explanation to the class, make sure that you are not talking because the microphone might decide to choose to record your voice instead of mine.
Right.
And then when students are going back watching the video, they're going to be very, very confused. So I love it when you guys talk, especially when I'm asking you to. Just make sure that whenever I am speaking to you and teaching you, that you all are listening which I've had no issues with that, especially with this group has been wonderful. I just want to make sure everyone is aware that it will pick your voice up. So let's start with number 1. Okay. So number 1 was negative 12 plus 5. I'm going to rewrite that below. Number 1, negative 12 plus 5. Okay. So let me ask you guys this. Do you know what operation means in math? Does anyone know what that word might mean in math? Yes, Rhonda?
It's right here for us up top, but it's whatever's in parentheses is first, and you do it all in that sequence.
Okay, yes. So operations, and what Rhonda was referring to, up here there's a poster that says order of operations. Now, yeah, go ahead. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You might be like, what does that mean? So it's a way to memorize it. I don't expect you guys to memorize anything because you can use your notes, you can use the posters on the walls. But the order of operations is telling us what order, what do we do first? Operations is the things we can do to numbers. So an operation could be addition, adding. It could be subtraction, subtracting, taking away, multiplying, dividing. There's other operations we'll focus on later, but let's just think about those for now. And today we're going to focus on just addition and subtraction. We're going to make sure we feel great about that before we do anything tougher. So what operation is happening in number 1? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing?
You're adding.
We are adding. Why do you know we're adding?
Because you have the plus on.
Because there's a plus sign. Okay, we are adding. So normally when you add, what happens? Does the number get bigger or smaller?
It's bigger.
It gets bigger. Okay. Now, in this case, we have a negative number and a positive number that we are adding together. When I add together 2 positive numbers, it does get bigger. But when I add a negative number, is it still going to get bigger?
Yeah.
Slightly.
No.
It depends on how you're thinking about it.
Right.
If you're thinking about negative 12 as your starting number, it's your starting point, we're starting with less than 0. We're at a negative 12. And then I add 5 to it. Technically, my answer will be bigger than negative 12. It's going to get bigger. But is my answer also going to be bigger than positive 5?
Yeah.
No, it won't. Do we know why it's not going to be bigger than a positive 5?
It's not gonna be bigger than 12. You have to have bigger 12 to get to 0.
Okay, so say that one more time. You said, is it not going to be bigger than 12 or?
And let's say if you have a 12 as a positive number, you'll have 0.
So like if I add 12 to negative 12, I get 0?
Right.
That is correct, absolutely. So, let's think about this. I'm going to draw a number line.
Thank you.
Yes. So I encourage you guys to do the same. I'm going to draw, and it's not perfect. Here is a nice number line, okay? And on my number line, I have 0 in the middle, okay? And on the left side over here, I have negative numbers. On the right side, I have positive numbers. Okay. So my positive numbers, starting from 0, we count upwards. They get bigger as we go to the right. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going, 6, 7, 8, and it'll go on forever, but I don't have room to write forever. Now, when we go the opposite direction, what kind of numbers do we get here?
Negative.
The negative numbers, perfect. Now, negative numbers how are they gonna move from 0? What is the first negative number we see? Yes, -1. And then it goes, what next?
-2.
-2, -3, -4, -5, all the way to -1,000,000. So what I'm gonna do is
Get 12.
make this enough tick marks on my line to get to -12, because I want to show that's my starting
I
point.
see.
So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, -12. Okay, and you could keep going, but we're going to use -12 as our starting point because that's the first number in our problem. I could label all these, but it gets a little smushed. You guys okay with me leaving some of these blank? I'll fill them in when we need them. Okay. So this number line is going to help us to see how we get our answer. If I start at -12, that means this is my starting point. I'm starting at -12. Now, if I want to add 5, which direction should I move on the number line?
Towards the positive.
Towards the positives. I'm adding, I'm making it bigger. So what I'm going to do is start from -12 and I'm going to add 1, add 2, add 3, add 4, add 5. So this is my +5 happening. And I ended right here.
That's -7.
It's -7. It is. So if we were to fill in the rest of this number line, let's see, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So what is -12 plus 5?
-7.
-7.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so if you picked -7 as your answer, you're correct. If you didn't get -7, that is okay. Do you understand why -7 is the answer, or is anybody still confused? Because we can explain it in other ways. Anybody not sure how we got -7?
See why I'm getting messed up in my math class.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what? Y'all are here today for a reason, and that reason is to learn. You can't learn if you already know everything. You're not gonna know everything, and that's totally fine. So let's talk about a quick trick that we could do. Let's say you don't want to have to draw out a number line every time. Okay. If I have numbers that I'm adding together, let's see, and they have different signs. Does anyone not know what I mean by signs? Signs meaning positive or negative. So if I say these numbers have different signs, -12 has a negative sign. 5, it's positive number, the sign is positive.
So you go back the other way to the positive.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So when we add together two numbers with different signs means we're going to be finding a difference. We're technically on the number line, we could see how we added, but if you don't want to use a number line, we're going to subtract in a way. What is 12 minus 5? 7. And then you're going to know it's negative because the bigger number is negative. So I heard you giving an explanation at the beginning, and you were like so close to having the right explanation because the bigger one is negative, so it takes the negative. That was right. It was just remembering that we would subtract instead of add in that case. Now, what I just said, you're like, that made no sense. That's also okay. In a moment, once we finish going through finding all the right answers, we're going to take some notes and we're going to create a guide that you can look back at together and by yourself to help you remember what to do without having to draw a number line every single time. Okay. Any questions about number 1? So for number 1, our answer is 7.
-7.
Negative
Ah!
7.
My bad. -7. I make mistakes, guys. I'm sorry. -7. Good catch, Brian. Thank you. Okay. Number 2. Let's see. Number 2, we have 3 plus -5. Okay. You got a few different answers. I'm going to rewrite your problem. 3 plus, and then in parentheses, -5. Now, let me ask you guys this first. Was anybody really thrown off by the -5 in parentheses?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So whenever we have numbers in parentheses, we are only using that to show multiplication if it looked like this. I'll show you. If there's no sign in between them, I'll put the sticky sign.
Oh.
So if I had 3 and -5 right next to each other, that is when you multiply. This would mean 3 times -5.
Yep, it'll be 15.
This is 3 plus -5. I just put parentheses there because this is where, just to show that it's a -5, it's not 3 plus -5.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? It's just separating the negative sign from the adding sign, the addition symbol. Okay. Does anybody still need more clarification about the parentheses? Or are we okay? Okay, I'm gonna take the silence as you're good. So let's think about this. If I start with 3 and I add -5, how can we think about figuring this out? Does anybody have an idea of how we could think about this?
-2.
Ooh, how'd you get -2?
And you start with. You have to do some +3,
Uh-huh.
and then you go back 5.
Okay, let's draw a number line again. Number lines are so helpful, guys. So again, we've got our positives here, our negatives here. I'm gonna put 0 in the middle. And 1, 2, 3. That's our starting point. Okay. Now, Angela, how did you know to go backwards instead of forwards? Because usually when we add, we go to the right towards positive numbers, don't we?
Because it starts out with a positive,
Uh-huh.
and the first thing started out with a negative.
Yeah.
So the negative, you start going back 5, and then to start with positive, you go to negative.
Let's give another explanation of that. That's awesome, Angela.
that's-
Thank you.
that's-
So if my problem said 3 plus 5, which is 3 plus a positive 5, we would go 5 towards the positive. We would be adding 5. But whenever we have a negative number, negative is like a fancy math word for opposite. It means do the opposite. So if I have 3 plus -5, it's really the same thing as 3 minus 5. I'm just taking away 5. It's like if I have $3 in my bank account and then I get a fee that takes $5 off added to my account. I'm adding a fee, but is it giving me more money or less? Less. It's really subtracting $5 from my account. Just like here, if I add a negative number, I'm just subtracting it. I'm really just doing -5. So if I am subtracting 5, which direction am I going?
To the left.
To the left, towards the negatives. Good. So let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is where we land.
-2.
Yes, if this is 0, I know my numbers next to 0 are -1, -2. -2. Okay, so what is 3 plus -5?
-2.
-2. Look at that. Awesome. We could talk about the other answers too, maybe why they don't work. I see one answer right here. There, the other two we got were -8 and 15. So let's see. -8. If I did 3 minus, oh my goodness, I would have to do a much bigger number. 8. I think I would have to do 3 plus -11 to get -8. What I think may have happened to whoever got -8.
I did.
You got -8? Who else got -8? I bet a bunch of us did, and that's
Yeah, I
okay.
did too. I was using the positive negative multiplication rule.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That is so easy to mix that up. Oh my gosh. Because some people might think, okay, I have a positive and a negative. So my answer is negative, and I'm just gonna add them. 3 plus 5 is 8. -8.
That's exactly what I got 15,
So
the multiplication.
what you did, you multiplied, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you thought, okay, 3 and 5 in parentheses, 3 times 5, 15. Makes sense. Totally makes sense.
Let me tell you how I knew that we're just doing adding and subtracting.
Yes,
Because
how?
at the top of the paper, you marked out multiplication and division.
I did.
So I knew we wasn't using that.
See, I seen that, but I seen it afterwards,
Right.
after the fact.
And it's no big deal. Guys, we are all learning together. And I love it. Okay. All right. So 3 plus -5, we discovered it is -2. Okay. Let's look at number 3. Did we all get 6?
Yeah,
Okay. So we need to go over that.
but it's supposed to be 0.
Say again.
It's supposed to be 0.
Supposed to be 0 for number 3?
I think so.
2 plus 4?
Oh, no, I got 6.
Perfect. Which one were you talking about?
The
Number
next one?
4?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's look at number 4. I have -3 plus -3.
Got -6. That's
This
right.
is tricky. Someone got -6, someone got +6, somebody got 9.
I got
So
positive 6.
immediately,
It should
we
have been
know
6.
if I did -3 times -3, +9 would be the answer.
Exactly.
But we're adding, so it can't be 9.
It's negative. It's 6.
Let's figure it out. Number 4, let's rewrite it. Down here. We have -3 plus -3. Okay. And let's draw a number line again. Positive, negative. Here's my 0. And 3, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. What would my starting number be? Where would I start?
-3.
-3. So I'm going to go from 0 and go backwards to the left side. 1, 2, 3. Here's -3. Okay, so that's my starting point.
Then we're adding three more negatives.
Yeah, okay, so the operation that's happening here is addition. We are adding. So when we add a positive number, we go to the right, correct? What about when we add a negative
Go to the
number?
left.
No, left.
We're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna go to the left. We are gonna go from -3, and remember what we said here, if you add a negative, you're just subtracting. Instead of adding this way, we're adding a negative, we're subtracting. We're going
-6.
1, 2, 3. And that number is gonna be
-6.
-6.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. Now, the beautiful thing is whenever you are adding two numbers with the same sign, you can always just add them like normal. Just make sure that you,
Carry the sign.
yes, you carry that sign. You keep the negative sign. Because 3 plus 3 is 6. We know that.
All right.
-3 plus -3 is -6. Adding two negatives is just like adding two positives. You just keep that sign. So let's see. We just got that. Let's mark that as, oh, it wasn't +6, it was -6. Okay. And I'll put this down here, give you guys time to write it if you need it. Does anyone still need this work down here?
Nope.
Happy to wait? Okay. Those were all the addition problems. Let's look at subtraction. That's going to be from number 5 to 8. So for number 5, gosh, I might need to start a new page. I'm running out of room.
And I got a grade good.
Okay, number 5 was 2, positive 2 minus 6. Okay.
I see just.
-4.
Oh, so somebody said -4, somebody said positive 4 whenever we got answers
It's 4.
earlier.
It's just 4.
It's just 4.
Just positive 4?
Negative.
Can we draw an underline? Our class is split. Let's draw a line. Let's look at it visually. Let's think about it.
Be a -4.
Now, before I even draw the number line, let's think about it using our reasoning. This is just like, let's just think about the numbers and what they mean. Which number is bigger, 2 or 6?
Bigger.
6. Whenever you subtract, you're taking away.
Right, exactly.
So if I have 2 of something, I'm going to keep talking about money. If I have $2 and I take away $6, am I going to still have $4 left?
Yeah.
Or am I going to have a negative balance?
Negative balance.
You're going to have a
Take away.
negative balance. If you only have $2 and you spend more than you have, that's when your account goes into the negative.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going to happen with numbers too. But let's draw a number line. We'll show it. What's our starting number? What's our point? 2. Good. So +1, +2. That's our starting point. And what operation is happening? Subtracting. Good. So when we subtract, do we go to the right or to the left?
Left.
Left. Okay, let me make a couple more tick marks. So I'm subtracting
6.
6. So I'm going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let's see what that number is. Start at 0, 1, 2, 3, -4.
Okay.
That makes
See
sense
now.
to everybody?
No, I see it.
Yeah. Sometimes it really helps just to see it visually because
I like the graph.
I don't know. It's difficult sometimes to picture numbers in your head.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it laid out. I'm a very visual person.
That's me.
Okay. See you later.
Yeah, go ahead, go to work myself.
Any questions on number 5? And if you are someone that has to leave early, make sure you check Google Classroom. There will be a very short extra ticket today. It'll be like 1 or 2 questions. No big deal if you gotta go. If you gotta go, you gotta go. You got things to do. But this will all be posted this afternoon. So let's see. Anybody still need this? Can we go to number 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, we have 4 minus -2. Okay. So these are really tricky. Subtracting negatives always messes people up. It is so confusing for no reason. But let's talk about it. If I start with 4, that's my starting point. Let's go ahead and draw a number line. Okay, there's my 0, and I'm starting at +4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Here's my starting point. Now, what operation is happening here between these numbers? Subtracting. Good. Subtraction is the operation. We're taking away. So when we subtract, what direction do we normally go?
Left.
To the left. We go to the left when we subtract a positive number. But remember, what do negative numbers tell us to do? The opposite.
Oh, yeah.
So if we normally go to the left when we subtract, but we're subtracting a negative, this feels really counterintuitive. And if you don't know what that means, it just means it feels wrong. Because you're seeing negative signs, you think, well, it has to get smaller. Weirdly enough, these 2 negative signs cancel each other out. Okay, so what's really happening here, it feels weird. It feels weird for me to even teach it to you. I don't know why, it just feels wrong. 4 minus -2 is the same thing as 4 plus 2. What? That's weird, but it's true. So normally we go to the left to subtract, but that negative sign tells us do the opposite. So we're gonna go to the right too. 1, 2. What number is that gonna be? 6. Yeah. Oh, that's so weird. We'll talk more soon about the real reason about why it works that way. Things that are gonna help us not have to draw number lines every time. But again, as we introduce this, those number lines I feel like really help. So 4 minus -2 is what?
6.
Man, we got a lot of different answers for that one. It's not -2, it's not -6, not 2, not 8, it's +6. Okay. Crazy stuff.
I had -2.
Okay. Any questions about this problem?
Well, it's gonna trip you up, because like I said, you're looking at negative, you wanna
Right.
subtract it.
Right. So something that I like to think about is I think about negative signs as it's almost like they're magnets. You know when you put two magnets together
They
and
won't connect.
right, they won't
Nope.
either they won't connect or they'll like stick to each other kind of funny. What's going to happen with these negative signs is they are going to be weirdly attracted to each other and they're going to loop together and they're going to turn into a plus. Anytime I see those two negatives next to each other, they want each other and they go like that. They're just so attracted. I don't know why. But yeah, minus negative, that those negatives, they turn into a plus. It's crazy. It's kind of like how, if you don't know this yet, that's okay. You can ignore this part. But it's kind of like how in multiplication, when you multiply two negative numbers, you get a positive answer. Crazy. Those negatives cancel, just like it does here. Okay, let's look at number 7. Yeah, now we have -3 minus 5. Okay. Now, are these negatives right next to each other? There's a number in between them, so it's technically not exactly the same thing. It's similar, super similar. -3 minus 5. We gave a lot of different answers. Draw that number line again.
And it wouldn't that be a multiplication of,
Not multiplication. Now, this one was kind
because it'd be
Kind of a
the opposite
trick.
side?
yes, this one is,
So that would be.
let's see,
That's why I question it.
because this does look similar to a multiplication problem. If I am having you find like multiplication of two numbers, typically I'm either going to put them both in parentheses if they're both negative like this. Like that would be multiplication. Or I'll have something like this. What tells us that this is not multiplication is that there is a sign in between them. Honestly, what would have been less confusing, maybe I should have done this. -3 minus 5. I don't know. Maybe no parentheses at all. Would that have been better? Maybe.
No parentheses.
No parentheses. So here, I'll write it a different way. -3 minus 5. Is that better? Might be. Okay, we'll stick with that. So -3 minus 5. What's my starting point? -3. So I'm gonna put that on my number line. 1, 2, 3. There's my -3. Now, what operation is happening?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. Good. We're subtracting. We're subtracting 5. We're taking away 5. So, am I going to go towards my positive numbers or my negative numbers? Negative. We're going to the left because when I take away 5, it's going to become 5 smaller. Now, with negatives, it's really tricky because whenever I go 5 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it almost looks like the number gets bigger because what number is going to be right here?
Negative.
Good, -8. That's going to be my answer. Whenever we are subtracting from a negative number, it's really like we're adding a negative number. Remember how earlier we said adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting? Subtracting is the same thing as adding a
I
negative.
was gonna ask you.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. And again, we're going to create a real nice, neat guide for all of this here soon. And I'm not sure if we will, we got a little time. We might end up doing that tomorrow, just because today we spent more time on this than I thought we would, but that's okay. That is okay. Let's see. So what would the answer to this be? -3 minus 5.
Negative.
8, -8, good. So,
I thought if both of them are negative, then it automatically goes to positive.
that's
Oh, yeah,
whenever
in
we are
addition.
multiplying.
Multiplying.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yes,
when we
so that's
multiply, that is
I
true.
thought the same thing.
I know, it's
No worry.
a lot of rules
What
there.
heck do we use this map at?
Let's see.
You make more sense than Dave did to me though.
Oh,
Ouch.
I'm
sorry.
Hey, look back there, that's all.
We went by
Okay,
too
hang on, let
fast.
me-
I know he did.
It's like me.
okay, all right, last one, number 8. Let's see. -2 minus -4. -2 minus -4. I'm gonna write it without the parentheses, if that helps.
You do.
Does that help the majority of us? Do we prefer no parentheses?
I like the bird. That's just me. I like.
Okay. So maybe I can write it both ways. We've got -2 minus -4. You could also think of it like -2 minus -4. Same problem, just written different. So, remind me, what happens again whenever we have two negatives right beside each other? It turns into a plus sign.
Yep.
Turns into a plus sign. So we could write this as also, this is another way, -2 plus 4. Okay, -2 plus 4. Either one.
So it'd be a positive.
Yeah, so let's reason this. Let's think about it just with our brains. If I owe somebody, or I'm not gonna say I owe somebody. Let's say I have -$2 in my bank account. I owe the bank $2, and then I go and make a deposit. I put money in my account. I put $4 in my account. How much money do I have in my account now?
$2.
$2. I got $2. So here, let's visualize it. 1, 2, 3. That's my starting point. -2. I started with -1, -2. Okay. And let's see. We are subtracting -4, which if you think about it, remember subtracting, we go this way, but since it's negative, we do the opposite. We're really adding. So are we going to go to the left or the right?
Right.
To the right. How many?
4.
1,
So
2,
the 8.
3, 4. And here's 0. What number is this that we landed on?
2.
2. Positive 2. Good, because this is 1. 0, 1, 2. So -2 plus 4 is what? Positive 2. Look at that. You guys are getting it. Okay, if you got a number originally that was not positive 2, do you understand why positive 2 is the answer? Is anybody still a little confused?
Two negative.
It is
a positive.
Yeah, those two negatives make positive. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, we have, looks like a little over 15 minutes. That's perfect. So let's, once we have this all, does anybody still need this? Okay, I'm gonna tear this out, and before we go, let's make a little guide for addition and subtraction. And I'm gonna give you not too bad of an exit ticket. Usually exit tickets are between 1 and 4 questions. Today I'll give you 2. Okay. So I'm gonna label this page. Always like to try to do this because I lose everything. And if I don't label it, I will throw it away on accident. So this is pre-algebra. And are in unit 1. Today is day 2. So I'm gonna write day 2 notes. And again, if anybody needs paper or a notebook, there should be plenty of at the front of the room. Feel free to help yourself. This is going to be page 1 of our notes today. Also remember, if you have it in your notes, you can use it on a quiz. So take notes. Take notes. I encourage it. Okay. So we are going to make a little table of the rules for adding numbers and the rules for subtracting numbers. And we're going to start with the adding rules. So left, right. Addition rules. So whenever you add, let's write POS for positive. So a positive number plus a positive number answer, is it going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Whoa, what happened? If I have
It's
like,
addition.
we're just adding. We're just adding. So if I have $3 and I add $3 more, am I going to have more money or less money?
More.
More money. If you are adding 2 positive numbers, you will always have a positive answer. Always, always. Always, always. So let's write that. Positive plus positive equals positive.
Always.
Always. Always. Everything that we're going to write on this little addition rules is always going to work. Always. I'm giving you rules. What about when I take a negative number plus another negative number? Remember, we're adding, we're not multiplying.
It's positive. It'll be negative.
Okay, a negative number.
It's gonna be negative.
You're going to get a negative answer. When we take a negative plus a negative, we're going to have a negative answer. Just like -3 plus -3 is -6. -2 plus -2 is -4. What's -1 plus -1?
-2.
Good. What's -10 plus -10? Positive or -20?
Negative.
Good. Good, good, good. You're just adding and carrying the negative sign over. Just keep the negative sign. Okay. See. I'll write an example next to each of these so that we can see. So, for example, 4 plus 4 equals 8. All positives. And then what if I do -2 plus -2? What do I get as my answer?
A good one.
-4. Good. Very good. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about what you do whenever we have a positive number plus a negative number. Now, we can't just automatically say that it's positive or negative because it depends on what numbers we're using. For the first two rules, it doesn't matter what numbers you use. You're always going to get a positive when you add two positives. You're always going to get a negative when you add two negatives. When you add a positive and a negative, it depends. So let's make a little guy. And here's what they do. And I think this one makes more sense if we see an example first. So let's do 12 plus -7 equal. Okay. So when you have a positive and you add a negative number, the rule that goes with this is that you are actually subtracting the numbers. And let me explain what I mean by that. I'm going to write subtract instead. Say answer gets the sign of the bigger number. So when we decide what sign we're going to use, we're going to kind of ignore whether it's a positive or negative to begin with. We just want to think about the number. What's bigger, 12 or 7?
12.
12. Is this positive or negative? Positive. So is my answer going to be positive or negative? Positive. I'm going to have a positive answer because the bigger number is positive. So I wrote subtract instead. Don't do 12 plus 7. We're going to do 12 minus 7. So you are really just going to be doing 12 minus 7, which is what? 5. And we know it's positive because 12 is positive and it's bigger. What about, I know, we're about running out of time, guys. I'm gonna say, before I dismiss you guys, I don't wanna not give you time to do the exit ticket before you go. I am gonna say your exit ticket today is to just turn in, let's see, because I wanna give you some credit. If you're here, you get 100, okay? How about that? If you're here, you get 100 on your exit ticket. That's what we're gonna do. Y'all get a freebie today. Y'all can get a freebie. Okay, let's continue this tomorrow. I don't wanna hold you up, make you late for your next class. Your exit ticket, I guess no exit ticket today. You lucked out. No exit ticket. All right, guys, weird stopping point, but that is gonna be it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. Yeah, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day.